Hello, hello. Welcome to Voice Notes with Ali. Seems like this is becoming a thing now, which I absolutely love. So, I got a beautiful question from one of our community members, Claire, this week, and it's such an important question. So, I thought I would share it here for our broader community. So, she said she's been thinking about something that we spoke about recently in our Heart Brain Harmony program around people who live with chronic illness and choose not to talk about their symptoms. And the question she asked was, how do we honor what our body's communicating without getting stuck in the identity of being unwell? And when do we need to share with others? How can we share with others in a way that builds understanding and safety without reinforcing the same story? And it's such a great reflection because this is that really fine line that we're always walking when we do this kind of work. And for me, it comes down to the difference between awareness and identification. Awareness heals, and identification holds us where we are. So when you're aware of what's happening in your body, when you step into your observer seat, when you can notice fatigue or notice tension or pain and be the witness of it with compassion and curiosity, you're activating the observing part of your brain. And that's really powerful because the moment you can start to witness something, you're no longer fully in it. You've actually created space, and that space is where change begins. But if we start talking about what's happening in a way that reinforces it, for example, say my anxiety or my autoimmune condition or my pain, the body hears that as confirmation. So every time we repeat that story, the same neural pathways fire. We release the same chemicals, the same stress chemistry, the same hormones, and we keep strengthening that identity. So I think that there's a big difference between listening to your body and looping in the story of the body and recreating the same physiological chemistry. So, all right, let me give you an example. Let's say you wake up feeling exhausted. So one version is, oh, I'm so tired. I've got no energy. I just can't do anything today. So your body hears that and goes, okay, we're tired. Let's stay there. Cortisol rises, your stress response kicks in, and there's no space for regeneration. So let's rewind and now think about another version. What if instead we said, my body's asking for rest today, and I'm going to honor that? The behavior's the same, but it sends a completely different message. It tells your system that it's safe and that you're listening. So the outcome is that the heart rate settles, chemistry changes, and your body can move towards healing. So I think you're still acknowledging what's real. You're not avoiding or suppressing. You're not bypassing anything, but you're choosing language that opens rather than closes. You're choosing language that enables you to shift toward coherence or move into coherence rather than contraction. Now, when it comes to sharing with others, I really love, Claire, what you said about wanting to create safety or understanding, because that's really important in our relationships. And sometimes saying nothing can feel like hiding, and we don't want that either. We don't want the feeling of suppression or avoidance or hiding. So the key, I think, is really in the energy behind what we share. So if we are contracted or feeling fear, or if we are incoherent, we reinforce the old pattern. If we speak from coherence, from a place of self-awareness and curiosity and self-compassion and self-trust, we actually create connection, because that's what's in our field. So, for example, like instead of saying, I can't come, I've been really sick again, you could say, I'm listening to what my body needs tonight, and it's asking for quiet. So the message is the same, but one of them carries a lot of disempowerment, and the other one carries self-compassion and self-respect. So you're still being honest, but you're speaking as the person who's growing into balance, not as the person who's identified and stuck in their illness. And when we do this consistently with repetition, this shift in our language, in our perspective, this shifting our baseline into coherence and communicating from coherence, communicating with a coherent heart, that subtle shift in language literally changes your brain and your chemistry. So from a scientific point of view, right, language is energy. And every word you say fires neurons and releases a chemical signature in your body. It's how the brain learns what to expect. And from an energetic perspective, your heart is broadcasting that signal outward. And when you speak from frustration or resignation, that frequency expands. And when you speak from calm or compassion or coherence, that coherence ripples out to the people around you. And it's contagious in the most beautiful way. This is why we always talk about, think about the energy that you're radiating. So here are a few things that have helped me along the way. And, I need to put a caveat here, is because sometimes the old programs are really strong, and we slip into our default mode so easily. And so one of the greatest things is our own remembering. It's remembering that we are conscious creators, and it's remembering to step into these new language models and this level of coherence. It's remembering to practice this in the moments throughout the day. So one of the things I like to do is to pause before I speak. And I ask myself, am I sharing this to connect, or am I sharing to be validated? And when we share to connect, our energy expands and our connection with the other person expands. But when we share for validation, it usually contracts. So the other thing that I have found to be really helpful for me is to feel and attune to my body before I name anything. So if there's discomfort or emotion, I just take a moment to breathe into my heart and just feel it. And often when I fully feel something and allow that 90-second wave to pass, it just moves without needing words. And if I do want to share, it's reminding myself to frame it through my intention. So instead of saying I'm struggling, it's remembering to say I'm in a process of deep change right now. And this is a tricky one for me sometimes, because the language can be such a default program. And finally, I think using words that honor both where you are, but also where you're going. So for example, right now my body's asking for gentleness, and I'm trusting that. And that statement holds presence and forward movement at the same time. So I really want to circle back and say this really isn't about pretending anything's fine. And it's definitely, I agree with you, Claire, it's definitely not about ignoring the body's signals. Our intuition, our body speaks in sensations. It's our intuitive guidance comes from the heart, from the body. We calibrate our yes or no through the body. It's about learning to speak from the part of you that's already healing. It's about learning to speak from the part of you that's already moving into and is wholeness. That part that knows the body is intelligent and that your words are the instructions to it. So I guess what's my takeaway here? My takeaway is to listen deeply to the body, to be the observer, and to speak consciously, and to be honest, but choose words that reflect the future that you're growing into. Remembering to let go of the narratives of the words that align with the version of you that you are growing out of. Choose words that align with your new identity, with your future self. And that's how we stay true to what's real without accidentally reinforcing what we're ready to release.